Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Creators Outlet right here on the Outright Geekery Network. And today we have a slew of creators. Yay! All from the same project. Guys, why don't you introduce yourselves?
Jeremiah, go first.
Jeremiah, go first.
I'm Jeremiah. I'm just the brain guy.
That's not true.
No, I do like creative and networking and fundraising.
Hurry, the big one. Sorry, I'm Donovan. I'm the penciler on the project. I draw.
Yeah.
I draw real good. My name is Joseph. I am the writer, and all of us are the creative team behind the project Pathway. So I'm sure we'll get into it more, but Pathway is a cystic fibrosis-based superhero.
Now, how did this all come about?
Jeremiah, go.
No, you tell it better than I do.
So Jeremiah created awesome original cosplay character that was dealing with cystic fibrosis because Jeremiah himself has cystic fibrosis. So he wanted to bring inspiration to other kids and adults that were battling a similar situation. And he had posted in the Connecting Comic Book Creators group. He said that he was looking for an artist to, I think, make an illustration of his cosplay character. Yeah. Donovan and I think simultaneously both saw this post, and we were touched by it and motivated by it. So we wanted to jump on board and volunteer to kind of make this a bigger project than just an illustration. We couldn't have done it without any of us, honestly, and the rest of the team, especially Donovan, because he helped create the likenesses of the characters and did all the pencil work and everything. So he laid the foundation. But yeah, so we both jumped on board. We said we wanted to be part of the project and make it a little bit bigger than it was. And then Jeremiah took it from there. He got us sponsorships. He got us a great partnership with Colton's Legacy, which is a nonprofit that helps provide expensive medical devices to people battling cystic fibrosis. And then all the ducks kind of fell in order, and we were able to print it. And then this was the year we were actually supposed to go to a few conventions and distribute them. But I think
2020 happened, yeah.
COVID knocked us all off track. So as soon as we're able, we hope to hit a few conventions. And the traditional book is this one. It's a 28-page full-color book. And it was supposed to be free. And then we're just recommending people to donate to Colton's Legacy. They're a nonprofit, like I said, that provides these medical. Jeremiah can go into a little bit more about actually what the medical devices are, but they're expensive, and it helps quality of life for people that are battling cystic fibrosis.
Take it away.
How's that,
Jeremiah?
That's perfect. That's exactly how it works.
You take it from there.
Yeah, no,
Jeremiah was on there. Oh, sorry, you go ahead, Jeremiah.
I was just saying it's definitely been a labor of love.
Right, exactly. I think for everybody, I know that I was drawn to the project because when Jeremiah put on there, my cousin Jason actually had cystic fibrosis and had battled and sadly had passed away quite a few years ago from it. But it just kind of spoke to me, and I knew I had to be a part of it just because I think it is important. A lot of people have cystic fibrosis and hardly anybody knows what it is, it seems like. But as we've done Pathway, it's amazing how many people are touched by it somewhere. A brother-in-law or a friend or a cousin or what have you. So it's cool kind of opening up that door as we've gone along with the project to see how many people are actually influenced it. And then to speak kind of to Joseph's talking about COVID, it's funny, we were talking in our group chat just a couple days ago, but when we started, only people I think with CF knew about the 6-foot rule and the having to wear a mask all the time, and now the whole world knows it. So unfortunately, this pandemic hits, but our character speaks to that kind of in a real time type of way because he can't be within, and the people he defends can't be within, and now everybody can kind of sympathize with it because we're all forced to wear the masks, stay 6 feet away from each other.
Yep.
Yeah, that was interesting that you talk about who's impacted somewhere along the lines. I went to a garage sale, and that's where I hooked up with that guy I gave him a copy. I was like, hey, do you got any kids? He said, yeah. I gave the kid, his son, a copy of Pathway. The kid goes inside, runs back out with a Sharpie, and asked me to sign the book.
That's awesome.
And then after I left, I had a brief conversation with his dad about the cystic fibrosis and everything. And then I got that message that he sent us, and he actually knew someone, a cousin or something, that had cystic fibrosis. And his kid was reading the book, and he said, Dad, I want to discuss this because I see people wearing masks and talking about the 6-foot rule. So does it have anything to do with this during, the age of COVID? And like Donovan said, it's weirdly relevant today. Beyond just cystic fibrosis warriors, now everyone is practicing these safety measures.
Yeah, I call it an unfortunate coincidence.
Right. And hey, it made you garage sale famous.
We'll take it.
So Jeremiah, for those of us and viewers that are going to be watching this, why don't you tell us exactly what cystic fibrosis is? It's
a degenerative lung disease that you're actually born with. So it's hereditary. Basically, it just makes your lungs fill with a lot of tight mucus and stuff. It makes it hard to breathe and messes up your digestive system as well.
Ooh. And there's lots of treatments you have to go through on a regular basis.
I do 2 hours with my vest, 4 nebulizers, and 27 pills a day. And I'm one of the healthier ones. So,
well,
yeah,
I was pretty close with you for a while. I did the whole coma thing, and
oh no,
yeah, I had a whole bunch of stuff. So I can see the expensive medical equipment because I am sitting in an expensive medical motorized wheelchair right now. So I understand all the extra equipment that somebody would need, and yeah, I've got vents here because I've had lung issues. One of the things they had to do while I was in the hospital because they couldn't get me off the
ventilator
tube. Yeah, so they did a temporary trach on me.
Wow.
I had 3 18-inch incisions that went from just below my knee to just above my ankle on my right leg. I had my whole body was poisoning itself, and then everything shut down, so they put me into a medical coma.
Wow. How long ago?
Back in 2016. So I was paralyzed from the waist down for like a good year and a half.
Wow.
Limited mobility. I can walk like short distances with a walker, and the rest of the time I've either got a self-propelled wheelchair or my motorized wheelchair.
That's rough.
What onset do they know?
I had gotten an infection from an accident I was in, and didn't realize a part of the emergency brake pedal, the rubber piece, the dirty rubber piece that's on top.
Yeah.
Jammed in underneath my skin. I had what looked like a softball growing out the back of my leg, and it was actually a big giant pocket of sepsis.
Oh, wow.
So I had that and a couple other things, and they had to do emergency surgery on my leg. So of course, they clipped nerve endings, so my foot just goes floppy like a dead fish.
Well, at least you're doing better now.
I'm doing better now. I don't have to do the treatments you have to do, but I have a nebulizer, and when the seasons change over, especially, I have to do probably only 4 treatments a month, so about an average of once a week.
Okay.
So that's nothing compared to you. And yeah, I'm on about 30 pills a day.
So you understand then.
So you hooked him up with a nonprofit. Tell me
Right.
how the nonprofit is working with the book now.
I mean, basically, they helped, cover some of the costs, and in exchange, we give out the books and, recommend donations to them.
Mhm.
I mean, that's really how that relationship works. And, they post on their social media once in a while. We post it constantly because, we're same cause.
And you guys ran this on Kickstarter
We did, yes.
successfully, I hope.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully, even more successfully the second time around.
Hopefully.
We actually, one of our tiers was to draw backers into our issue 2 for people that sponsored that level or that reward tier. So we're gonna have to start reaching out to those folks and getting the pictures and stuff for Donovan to include in the next issue.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I guess, Donovan, is there any questions you want me to ask them? I wanted to get them doing or posing something that they're like familiar with or that they like, or a t-shirt that's a personal favorite or something to give it like a little extra added touch, personal touch.
I'm good. Not really for the backers. Wherever you feel that they'll fit best, if they want to be background characters or.
Okay.
I'm not really sure. I don't think our villain has minions per se. So
We got somebody asking when our comic is set to hit the stands. Kenneth, the comic's already out. All you have to do is contact us on our Facebook page or go to the link that I believe they're going to put in a little bit to the nonprofit. And then you get mailed one.
Yeah, it's coltonslegacy.org/pathway, right?
Yes. Having a celebrity sponsor helped a little bit.
Yeah, Colton Underwood, he was a Bachelor guy, right?
He was on The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, and played for 3 different teams in the NFL.
What position? I always tell people this, and I always forget what position.
I don't remember.
Okay. I guess we'll have to find that out, because I'm like, I don't know.
then it's a niece of his that has, right? Jeremiah?
Yeah, his little cousin.
His cousin, yeah.
Yeah, Harper.
So what's the premise of the book? We know the basic premise, but if you were to get people into the book to want them to have the book, because obviously we want everybody to have the book and make a donation to the charity.
Right. Go ahead, writer.
I know Joseph wants to say something because he's got this grin on his face like he just won the lottery.
I feel like we're in the Brady Bunch because we're talking heads, like moving around in a grid formation. So no, we are inspired by Todd McFarlane's like 80s run on Amazing Spider-Man. And what we wanted to do was we wanted to tell Pathway's tale, who's he's a doctor that's trying to find a cure for cystic fibrosis. And in the meantime, he has like this self-sustaining suit / nanotechnology, sort of like Tony Stark, that kind of helps him deal and live with the disease in its advanced stages, but it also gives him these super powered powers that he has. So kind of like a cross between maybe Tony Stark and Doc Ock, I guess, more of like a nanotechnology vibe. But he kind of has, the book is written kind of like Amazing Spider-Man, so it's lighthearted. It deals with educational topics like the 6-foot rule and different things that people with cystic fibrosis, I guess, could relate to and connect with. So we wanted to tell something that was educational but also fun to read. So that way we could get a casual reader to pick up the book, enjoy it, say, oh yeah, this kind of reminds me of like Amazing Spider-Man versus Hobgoblin or whatever, which is one of the tributes that we did, was in that regard for the first issue's cover. I don't know if you're familiar with this cover, but it looks like the one from Amazing Spider-Man 298.
Oh yeah, with Chase.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Donovan did a homage to McFarlane with our cover. So our next cover for issue 2, which we'll do the grand reveal in a little bit, Donovan, That one we picked another copy of Amazing Spider-Man, another cover. John Romita Jr. Senior. John Romita Senior homage. So we'll be doing that. I think it'll be a consistent theme.
Good. Sorry, JR. I do another podcast with one of our other guys, Thomas Hewlett, called "Okay, Boomer." All we do is deep dive into gold and silver and Bronze Age comics.
Nice.
Awesome.
Just it's like, yeah, I know you're excited that you just spent $10 on a reprint with a 10-page story for an 80th anniversary of a character, but hey, there was this.
Well, the cool thing about that first cover is we actually got a message from Todd McFarlane telling us how much he liked it.
Oh, see, right there.
Yeah.
You got the Todd Father's stamp of approval.
Right. No pressure.
No pressure.
Actually, Donovan did a good job. I mean, we wanted to kind of frame this off McFarlane's work and also maybe get like a Spawn vibe, how it was colored and stuff like that and inked. And Kieran, the inker, I think he knocked that feel out of the park. I think Donovan had mentioned that before. And then Danny, the colorist, I think he kind of like sealed the deal. So, I mean, everybody did such a great job, I think, putting this together and really giving it that, lighthearted 90s comic vibe.
Of course, now I have, masks and posters and shirts and even a tattoo all over our hero. So.
Oh, see, we're gonna do this.
There you go.
Is on the big cam.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I'm important. I'm the only one.
Yeah, we can fix that in a minute.
No, I like being the only one. Oh, ending spoiler alert. Don't read it.
Don't read it. We're just looking at the layouts.
Yeah, see, I actually took my favorite panel from that issue, and that's the tattoo I got. Rather large, actually.
Where's it on your leg? It's on your leg?
I think Jeremiah froze on us.
Jeremiah!
That's you guys.
There you go. Oh.
Come back.
Yeah, it's on my leg. Sorry, I lost you guys for a second. But I'm back. Yeah, see, the tattoo is right there.
Hey, look at that.
Wow, yeah, that's a pretty big tattoo, dude.
That's my favorite panel from the first issue. So I plan on each of the books we do getting a new one put on.
Your whole body's gonna be one giant sleeve of Donovan's artwork.
Yeah.
Could be a walking advertisement.
Why not?
Donovan's gonna have to sign your forehead in permanent Sharpie or something.
Oh, I'm apologizing ahead of time then, Jeremiah. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'll get him to sign a piece of paper and I'll just get the signature tattooed with all your artwork.
There you go.
Well, I guess you'll go from cosplaying to your character to just cosplaying a comic book.
I could.
It's the way to do it.
I've never seen that done. That's actually inspiring me for another character.
There's a gentleman, I can't think of his name right now, but he used to hit up the San Diego Comic Con quite a bit, and he's got a lot of George Perez's stuff all over him. Chest, back, sleeve. He's actually in the 50th anniversary book from the San Diego Con, I think.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, but it's all, I believe it's all Perez's, and I think it's all Perez's new Teen Titans work. So, Raven, Nightwing. I could be wrong on that one, though.
Is George still doing the convention scene?
No.
His last year was in 16 or 17 or something?
17, and because I'm south of Boston, and he was going to go to Terrificon
Okay.
at the Mohegan Sun, and I bought tickets and fought with people to be able to get transportation to go there to meet him finally, because I was supposed to meet him 1 year prior to this, prior to the wheelchair, at Boston Comic Con, the year of the scummy brothers that bombed the marathon.
Yeah.
So the thing got canceled. They obviously canceled it, and George and a whole bunch of other people jumped on the plane and headed out.
Right.
On the other hand, creators like David Mack, who I was in touch with, and I highly publicized everything that was going on. David Mack, Tim Sale, Tim Seeley, and a whole bunch of other comic pros all stayed in town and went and signed for free at comic shops from Providence, Rhode Island, all the way to New Hampshire to support Boston.
Awesome.
That's cool.
That's like my awesome story, and I bought some really cool prints off David, and I talked to him because I could watch him do his style of art like all day long. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
I got an interesting Bat Family print from Tim Seeley, and he had just started working on a G.I. Joe run back then. I got a whole bunch of stuff signed, and I think I was like one of the only ones that bought prints off of Mac. So Mac gave me like 3 prints I bought like 3 prints. He gave me 3 more for free. And then he signed a slew of Kabuki stuff for me and gave it to me.
Oh, cool.
Because I brought my big giant Kabuki dolls, still in the box because you can't open toys.
Right.
And he signed that. And I brought my Spider-Man Blue, Daredevil Yellow, and Hulk Gray hardcovers. And a buddy of mine came up with me. And he brought some of his Superman work and one of the Long Halloween hardcovers with him. He signed all 3 of my books, and he did a remark of Hulk inside the Hulk Gray for me.
Oh, cool.
Prized possession now.
Right.
So Kenneth had another. His wife has RSD, CRPS, reflex implement. I can't even pronounce some of these words.
Sympathetic dystrophy, chronic regional pain syndrome. She has used the Jazzy wheelchair and has worked up to use a walker now. This is really right up our alley. Kenneth, get in touch with us. We'd love to send you a copy of the book. We're going to be launching issue 2 pretty soon. We'll be making the announcements. And if you want to be part of our Kickstarter, we'd love to have you as well. We're going to have some more tiers to get you drawn into the book, some sketch covers by Donovan if he's willing, and cool stuff like that. So, and also if anybody has some other ideas, we did a holofoil variant for the first book.
Ooh, 90s cover.
Nice and shiny 90s cover. And then we also had just a plain purple foil variant title.
Oh, that's cool too.
So we only have like 80 of this one left. And this one, we have a few more. But yeah, with COVID and all the conventions being locked down, we were supposed to hopefully do Tampa Bay Comic Con. And
yeah, they got canceled.
They got canceled and a few others. But so, I mean, most importantly, everyone's healthy. But as soon as convention season's back on and people can circulate freely, then, the team will be excited to get together and do a couple shows and get some of these books out, raise some money for a good cause.
Oh, definitely.
By then, we'll have books for other causes, too, because we're in talks with a few other causes to do books for them.
Any hints?
Can we give them the first hint?
I can tell you what the cause is. I can't tell you who yet until things are finalized, and that's we're doing one for cancer.
Okay. It's a great cause that I'm behind. My grandmother passed from cancer.
What kind?
She had lung cancer, but it was so bad it was all over her body. Only after they diagnosed her, she was gone in like 3 months.
Oh, wow.
It's rough. I'm sorry.
My mother had breast cancer, and she beat that, and then she had an operation go south, and at the very end, she ended up with thyroid cancer. The same day she passed, my uncle passed, who had prostate cancer, beat that, and then passed stomach cancer. My uncle and my mother passed like 12 hours apart.
Oh, wow.
So,
Were they close at all?
well, yeah, they kept. My uncle was my dad's brother, one of my dad's brothers, and then obviously my mom is my mom.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was the oldest of 11.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Only 3 of them left now. So
I thought my dad's family was a big family. He comes from 7, so 11. That's a pretty good sized family.
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's yeah. My family doesn't do anything but have babies. It's like, guess what? My mother used to call me and goes, guess what? I'm like, who died? Nobody. Who's getting married? Nobody. Who's pregnant?
Yeah.
Bang, 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 bang. I had an uncle just recently pass a couple of months ago, and he was married. He's married to my cousin. I called him aunt and uncle because of the age difference. They have 7 kids, and now have 14 grandkids and a great grandkid.
Wow.
That's all out of one house. So, you know,
That's a big Thanksgiving dinner.
yeah, we basically, you know, if my mother's side of the family gets together, like just from one area, because they're all spread out.
Yeah.
We're looking at it. We need to go someplace where there's like 3 restaurants side by side, and we split up into groups and just take over all the restaurants.
That's
So
funny.
when did the talks start for the possible cancer project?
We had started emailing them a couple of months ago. We just now got into talks where things are getting finalized, though. So
That's good. Well, we'll look forward to having you back on for that book.
we'll be happy.
So, Donovan, you have a cover you want to debut for issue 2.
Issue 2's cover. Yep, I'm going to flip my phone around, and then I'll let
Roll.
Jeremiah and Joseph explain the beautiness or whatever they want to explain, and then I'll jump in at the end.
Can we get a drum roll? Ta-da!
I don't know how good I'm doing here. Sorry.
You're almost on it. Yeah, right there. Stop. Right
Stop.
there. Do you know what cover of Amazing Spider-Man that's from?
Well,
What issue was that?
There you go. Anybody know? Yep.
Sinister 6.
Yeah, and you can see our new bad guy in there.
It's a John Romita cover.
I know the cover, but I don't know the number.
It's below 200, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's below 200, which means it's not in my collection. So
Yeah.
For close up.
I know the cover, but I do not know the
Okay.
issue.
I'll tell you the villain. The original villain is Mysterio.
It's just my face. I'm sorry.
Oh, he's Mysterio!
Yeah, that's the cover for issue 2 with our new bad guy on it.
And it's actually
what was the issue?
yeah, the answer is Amazing Spider-Man 198.
Oh, I knew that.
I hope so. You drew it.
Ooh, that doesn't always mean anything, sir.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, in the original cover you had Mysterio surrounding Spider-Man in these puffs of what what does he do? Mist, green mist.
Yeah, like a special effects.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. He is a special effects guy. So Jeremiah can kind of bring us into why we came up with this villain. But things that are traditional villains of people with cystic fibrosis are anything that impacts air quality, prevents them from breathing adequately and stuff. So in issue 1, our villain was the gasp up here. And he's kind of like a take on someone that uses smoke bombs and other, I don't know.
Very Green Goblin-y.
Yeah, Green Goblin, like he's got smoke grenades and things like that would really do a number on someone with cystic fibrosis. So then we explored other things that people with cystic fibrosis have to overcome that would be natural enemies of people with cystic fibrosis. So then we came up with the character Distress. And Jeremiah, if you want to take it from there.
Yeah, Distress is basically she attacks by with depression basically. So she makes you start doubting yourself, and that's her prime weapon. Because as a terminal patient, I mean you went kind of through it. Depression's a big thing you end up dealing with a lot. Mm-hmm. We wanted to do a hero for that, but without going too dark.
Yeah, I'm dealing with that because I go through obvious depression from being a mobile person who was walking around. I was a DJ for 30 plus years, and then I couldn't walk for a year and a half, so kind of like lost everything. So
I was
diagnosed with depression, anxiety, and PTSD from everything that happened to me in the hospital. So
right. Yeah, so what we did is we made Distress. She's kind of a weird combination of like Mysterio meets Raven meets Scarecrow. Like she's kind of a combination of all three of those.
With a little mystique thrown in, just
a little mystique thrown in.
A dash and a sneak.
Yeah, right.
And when are you looking to launch issue 2?
Our Kickstarter, I don't know, maybe first week of September to get the Kickstarter rolling. We still have to get some funding and some script and stuff together in the background. And a lot of it got delayed because of the rollout from COVID. We wanted to be through half of our copies of issue 1 by now and to raise all those funds for Colton's Legacy. But because of the COVID event, it kind of knocked us off course. So it's all been pretty much hand and self-distributed here and there. Yeah, until we can get out to a convention and go through 500,000
We distributed like 2,500 copies already. So
that's awesome.
Joseph, why don't you send me a private message and give me like all the links how people can get in touch with you guys.
Okay.
And the page for donations and all that, so we can put it up.
Okay.
Kenneth, we'll make sure you get in touch with them.
Donovan, can we give out your personal cell phone number on air?
Do it.
Oh, I've put mine on our Facebook page a couple of times.
What's that, Jeremiah?
I said I've put my personal phone number on our Facebook a couple of times.
Oh, have you?
where people just, if they want to call me to get in touch or ask questions or whatever, go for it.
So that's a cool thing that we've been able to do is Jeremiah as Pathway or us as a creative team has been able to reach out. Jeremiah did one with Scarlett.
Yeah.
She was a young girl battling cystic fibrosis in the UK. And he did a video chat with her and her mom and maybe brother.
Mm-hmm.
And just got to meet the character Pathway and talk to him and, kind of what he's dealing with and how he overcomes and deals with cystic fibrosis and stuff. And just the response that we got from her after that was just very touching. So we'd love to do more of that. If anybody knows someone personally that has cystic fibrosis, especially a kid, it's awesome to get Jeremiah to talk to him and just say, hey, you can get through this and this is how, and, I'm a
Oh, and I do it
superhero,
in full
so
costume too.
yeah.
Well, I should definitely be able to put you in touch with some people for that because I have many friends from the cosplay community that do lots of charity work, specifically with kids. Out here, we have the Boston Children's Hospital, and in Rhode Island, they have the Hasbro Children's Hospital, and do a lot of. They also do a lot of stuff with Make a Wish.
Oh, okay.
So I will talk probably tomorrow afternoon to a couple of them, and I'll put out some feelers and get your information to them too.
Awesome, thank you.
That's cool.
And if any hospitals or whatever, or clinics, or it doesn't have to be a hospital, it can even be like a school or something, wants, a group of issues, we're happy to send out 10 or 20 or 50 pack of issues out to their school, especially if a school's maybe educating about, certain conditions or diseases, or if a clinic has, a large population of cystic fibrosis patients, we're happy to get, books out to them so they can, the idea is to get these in their hands so they can enjoy it and have their own superhero to look up to. So
yeah, inspire them, teach them, and
bring more people into comics at the same time.
Yes, because reading is fundamental.
Exactly.
So I've been giving out copies of Pathway to garage sales or people that I meet off Facebook Marketplace. And a lot of them will say that they're readers. They read Hunger Games or whatever. And then when I give them Pathway, it's like their first comic book. That like 80% of the people, the first comic book they ever read was Pathway. So I hope that in 20 or 30 years, when they become a comic book fan, and someone asks them, what was your first comic book you ever read? They're going to say Pathway.
And people will say, what? And then they'll have to show it to them.
Exactly.
Now, Donovan, what was your background getting into comics?
Well, I've been into comics forever, since like the '89 Batman movie. So I've been, just a complete nerd, and I've been drawing since I was little. So it's just been something I've done. I've done a lot of stuff here for some of the local publishers in Vegas. But then, like I said, when Jeremiah posted on there that he was looking for an artist to help, and it was specifically for a cystic fibrosis character, I jumped at the chance to do anything, just because, like I said, my cousin Jason was one of my best friends growing up, and it was just a way that I could kind of honor him, and tie in two things that I love, right? My cousin, and then also comic books, which I think are great. And then, like Joseph was saying, it's a great way to get some information out there without it being preachy, without it being beat you over the head nonsense. Here's Jeremiah's character, here's what he can accomplish, here's what he does accomplish. And then, it speaks to, kids that are stuck in camps, or they can't necessarily go to school all the time, or they're in the hospital all the time. So and Jeremiah, correct me if I'm wrong, but their circle of friends are purposely small. Yeah. So the hope is that it expands the world to them and shows them that what they're going through, that they are heroes, and that there's more than just that one room that they're stuck in, or that one camp they get to go to every other August or whatever it is, and it was important to me. So and then, like Joseph said, the fact that we were really trying to keep it in that Amazing Spider-Man vein, where there's a bigger world of superheroes and supervillains, but really you don't need to get bogged down, like with Claremontian background and characters. You can just kind of jump right in and enjoy each issue on its own. And then what Jeremiah and Joseph are doing with, trying to focus each time on a different adversary that, CF people have, but also anybody that maybe has something terminal or something that's extremely challenging. I don't know. It gets me, and I like that. I think that's something that we're a niche market, but it's a necessary market. And then, like Joseph said, it's awesome that so many people are being introduced to comics for the first time through this. You know what I mean? And that goes back, I remember when I was a kid back in the 80s, and they'd hand out those stupid McGruff comic books. And you're like, oh, it's a comic book. How great is that? And maybe Spider-Man pops in there or something, but to have so specific a comic, and then, to focus on different things as we go on. I don't know. It's just cool. It's just a special niche, and it worked out great for the group of folks, the guys that kind of came together to work on it. With Jeremiah as the nucleus.
So Jeremiah,
So we have
you've been a comic book nerd forever.
Yeah, I have. Like, I specifically collect Green Lantern mostly, because his whole thing is willpower, and that's basically how I've managed to stay around so long. So he just always spoke to me, but I didn't have a hero that I could really truly identify with, which is what made me want to do this.
You're bending the cover.
There's no easy way to hold this. This is a memorial that was done by Donovan for his cousins that were impacted by cystic fibrosis. But if you get a copy of the comic, you can read it. And there's a memorial from Donovan, and then 2 editorials from Jeremiah and myself, I think, that are worth checking out. Here's the other one.
Yeah, and the whole back cover is for the charity. So.
And that's for the charity, yeah.
Right there.
See, I didn't know what that was when I was looking at Joseph's Facebook page.
Yeah, that's Colton's Legacy, which is the charity that helped us with the first issue. So
that is awesome. And Joseph has a very sordid background in the comic book industry.
He does.
Let's start with, who have you not worked for?
Me? I don't know. I think there's a lot more coming up. We have a Top Cow release coming up in September. It's called the Stairway Anthology. It's a bunch of sci-fi, like time-hopping kind of tales done by a lot of different creative, talented creative teams. Scout Comics, we have a kids series coming up called The Misadventures. It's like Dexter's Laboratory meets Harry Potter. And then hopefully we're trying to land 1 or 2 more with a couple different series. Might be smaller indie pubs though.
Cool. So you're keeping busy.
Trying to. Everyone's release schedule got rolled back a little bit because of COVID.
Oh yeah, I know.
And then when Diamond stopped distributing, I was shopping a couple other titles, and Matt at Top Cow said, we're just not picking anything up right now because we don't know if A, shops are going to be around, and B, people are still, going to keep their pull lists and stuff like that at comic shops going, and if they can even go in the store to buy anything. So it's been challenging from a pathway standpoint, and then also, I'm sure all the traditional publishers are finding it challenging too, because you got to get the book in the person's hand to keep the comic book industry alive. So I know Donovan, he goes to San Diego Comic-Con every year and does a lot of work out there. And I know that not being able to go this year was kind of,
it's making me cry is what it's doing.
Not optimal, should I say. So.
Well, a friend of mine that I had on the show a couple weeks ago is an illustrator, and basically his entire lifestyle in work is doing conventions. He does probably like 45 a year.
Right.
Like one after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other.
It's a road warrior.
So, I've got a bunch of commissions from him because, I'd rather give money to the creative team that created the IP for something cool that that I would probably frame and hang on my wall somewhere, than go up to a millionaire actor to give them like $100 to stand with them for 3 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we need more of your people out there. They're thinking the same way, William.
I'm trying to convert them, but they get mad when I tell them they're doing everything wrong. But maybe COVID is a way of teaching them, because I don't think that the big Hollywood stars, insurance companies, are going to allow them to be around the little people.
Right?
Nope.
So let's put this in perspective. For $100, you can get a celebrity's autograph, or you can be drawn into the next copy of Pathway and be immortalized in the annals of comic book history.
What is better than that?
Or I think for a little bit less, you can get an original commission by Donovan. That way, I keep pointing the wrong way.
Commissions and all kinds of things. Speaking of which, I've got the old Kickstarter page up. I'm just grabbing the links that you gave me for Colton's Legacy, so I can put this all in the all right here in the chat, so people can see it.
Yeah, we got a website coming up too. It's just still being built, and then everything will be in one place.
We just got our logo back for that too.
We're big
So
time now.
We'll have to do an official reveal of that as well at some point.
Definitely.
Donovan, how are the casinos doing right now? Are they all 100% open, or?
No, some of them are open, some of them are closed still. I couldn't even tell you which ones are, just out of offhand. Yeah, there's
How's the traffic? Is it like mandatory masks and stuff, or what?
mandatory masks, even though you're getting some folks that wear them and some don't. We get a lot of Californians because Californians completely closed down. They can't go to the beach, can't do anything, so they come up here on the weekends. During the week, we see a lot of, like, I talked to somebody from Ohio, somebody from Wisconsin, and somebody from Massachusetts today. So we're getting a few East Coasters, but
Hey, you're talking to somebody from Massachusetts right now.
yeah, see, exactly.
Okay. So we've got those links in.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, that one looks funny because it's got a whole bunch of extra code on the end. And that's the Facebook page.
Yep.
Facebook.com/PathwayCFSuperhero. See, Kenneth, I told you I'd get you in touch with them. But I say we take a look at the prior campaign, because this is all over and done.
Yep. When was the final day?
Oh, it was a while ago.
February 10th.
Yeah.
The video's still up, so we can play the video for you. And then they just took the video down as soon as I clicked on it. Okay.
Is it still loading or something?
Nope. I clicked it and it. Oh, there it goes.
James is a man on a mission. Fighting his own fight against cystic fibrosis, he has devoted his entire career to discovering a cure for future generations. But when trouble, in the form of the supervillain known as the Gasp, rears its ugly head, Joshua uses his technology to become the hero Pathway and stop him. The Gasp sets his sights on settling a score with the Hartman Clinic Administration, who denied his son a critical but costly lung transplant. Unfortunately, the transplant ward and all of Pathway's dearest friends are caught in his crosshairs. Can Pathway overcome his own physical limitations and the wrath of a man hell-bent on vengeance to put an end to the Gasp's reign of terror? Hi, I'm Jeremiah Stemple, and I'd like to introduce to you our project, Pathway CF Superhero. Being a cystic fibrosis warrior myself, I wanted to find a way to introduce a hero with the limitations of someone fighting CF, but with all the benefits of nanotechnology and a scientific intellect rivaling that of Tony Stark. With that in mind, Pathway was born. I started posting in comic book creator forums on Facebook to see if I could find an illustrator to draw the cosplay character which I had created. It was there that I met Joseph A. Michael, who was so moved by the project that he thought Pathway deserved its own comic book. Soon after, Donovan Peterson was on board, offering his artwork for the cause. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Joseph.
If you're listening to this, I want to say I'm so glad that you joined us on this journey. Creating a comic book character that approached cystic fibrosis with honesty, but also stood alone as a superhero story, which all audiences could connect with, was a challenge. We were inspired by Todd McFarlane's 1990s run on Amazing Spider-Man, with its lighthearted, all-audience appeal. So, we decided to create a story that was entertaining at first glance, but still touched on critical educational issues related to cystic fibrosis. It was a fine line to walk, but I think we nailed the proper balance. I'm so thrilled to be a part of Pathway, and I look forward to continuing the mission with your help.
Welcome to everyone joining us for the first time, or for those of you that have been following us since the beginning. This has been a real labor of love for me since cystic fibrosis hit so close to home. I saw an opportunity and wanted to make an impact on behalf of my cousin Jason and his wife Melissa, who fought so valiantly against this disease. Not only to remember them, but to hopefully spread awareness and find a cure so that future generations can live a life free of cystic fibrosis. Please share our story and help however you can. We hope to continue to do cause-based superhero stories that do spread awareness and raise crucial funding for advancements in treatments. On behalf of cystic fibrosis patients everywhere and their loved ones, thank you.
Thank you, Joseph and Donovan, and thank you, Kickstarter patrons. All of your support and pledges and your faith in us is very impactful, and we hope you can help us increase our reach and continue to tell meaningful stories that truly impact lives. And in the meantime, please don't forget, you guys are the ones that inspire us to keep doing what we do. Joshua?
There we go. So that was quite a presentation.
I think that came together pretty nicely.
Yeah. I even saw Jeremiah's tattoo.
Yep.
Although when Donovan was on, I was actually shopping for pops behind him.
What room is it in, Donovan? Is that the same room you're in now?
Yep.
The pop room? Okay. Which one's your favorite?
I don't know. Whichever the last one I bought was.
The answer to that is yes.
Yeah, a good friend of mine collects pops too, and we just bought him one of the big 10-inch Deadpool ones for his birthday a couple of weeks ago.
I want the talking Deadpool head so bad.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to try and grab that sparkly Mr. Freeze from GameStop this week. That's a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, and then the Cyborg Superman at Target. We'll see how it goes. Probably about as successful as trying to buy one really from Funko at the convention.
Unless you work for Funko.
Right. It's funny how that works.
Oh,
anybody from Funko
or employees.
Yeah, if anybody from Funko is listening, and someone wants to send a couple of those Donovan's way,
Las Vegas,
/ help us create a pop of Pathway, we'd be open to having that conversation.
That'd be pretty awesome.
Definitely, yeah. Your head would be like this big and square.
My head's already that big.
No.
I've got my camera on a wide angle, so my head doesn't look as big as it actually is. So,
is there any conventions that they are definitely still on, or has everything pretty much been canned?
They had one. They had like a small one in Huntsville this past weekend, like last weekend. But it was like super small.
Holiday Matsuri in Orlando is still happening as of right now.
And has anybody been to any of these conventions? Do they have like plexiglass for every booth, or how are they set up?
I haven't been to any of them since the COVID stuff happened.
No, the Huntsville show, from what I saw, basically they didn't have any guests to speak of. I think they might have had like one or two like local comic book guys. And the rest were pretty much just all vendors. How they would normally set it up, you know, in the rows. It'd be like there's 6 foot length of table, and then empty 6 feet, and then like another 6 foot length of table, and
Huh.
so they were placing like 6 feet in between vendors. Everybody had to have a mask. If they didn't have a mask when they got there, they were handed a mask and a small bottle of hand sanitizer.
Nice.
And there were a bunch of people walking around in the. There was a small press local guy there, because the only pictures I saw were in one of the indie groups, and he basically got everybody to he either gave out his book for free, or he got everybody to buy the book because he was Artist Alley, basically, or Creators Alley. So there were about 20 pictures of all different people, some in like small groups, like, you know, people that came together, you know, holding up his comics. So that's the whole post, was that just like, this is everybody. All 37 people that came to the convention. I guess the showrunners couldn't get their money back from the venue. So they're like, well, we'll take it. If you want to cancel, fine, we'll reimburse you. If you want to come and set up and show up, fine. And they, as far as I know, they didn't charge anybody at the door. It's like, just come in for free. And it was like it looked to be like not a VFW hall, but something along that lines, you know, modest size, like old school comic book shows.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like they were before corporations came in and like, ooh, we're not fleecing the geek community. Disney showed us the way. Let's do it. Like,
Yep.
Disney just bought all their competition.
Oh, we lost Jeremiah.
Uh-oh.
Jeremiah, what happened?
I don't know. My signal dropped.
There you go.
I came back finally.
I
I
saw
can
a
still
voice.
hear you guys. It just wasn't. My screen just froze.
Yeah.
All right. So Donovan's been posting nostalgic stuff from last year's San Diego Comic-Con because he misses it so much this year. So what's everyone's favorite convention moment? William, the one you shared earlier, was that yours? The one where they canceled from Boston and then showed at the local comic shops?
Yeah.
Okay, Jeremiah, you're up next.
I'd say probably last year when I went to Tampa Bay Comic-Con as Pathway with my daughter.
Who's very
That was
artistic, by the way.
Yeah, she is.
Did she finish her
actually
pathway? Did she finish her pathway drawing?
she drew the staff. She hasn't drawn anything else yet.
All right, tell her we need the whole character.
I will.
And then
she
Donovan's-
like, she's not confident in how she does hands yet. So.
And then after she's done, Donovan's gonna get that tattooed on his leg.
Right, there you go. Fair's fair.
I mean, she does good for a 12-year-old who got accepted into an art school in New York.
There you go. That's cool.
That's big.
Well, wait.
All right, Donovan, how about you? You're up.
All right, so I'm blanking on his name. The creator of Green Lantern, the original one. Why can't I think of his name?
Gil Kane?
Alan Scott, the co-creator. Not Mort. Can't think of his name. Help me out. You got it, Joseph?
Hold on. I'm trying to Google it.
Alan
Martin
Scott's
O'D-
creator.
Martin O'Dell.
That's it. Thank you. So, 94 convention, we were just kind of kids still, and we were flying back from San Diego to Idaho, where I'm originally from, so to Salt Lake City. And we were talking to a friend of ours, ran our local comic book store, and she was talking to another guy, and this guy would not shut up about Alan Scott. And I'm like, man, what is this dude's deal with the original Green Lantern? And my buddy, whose mom was the one talking to him, he says, you want to know for real? I go, yeah, why not? This guy, I mean, who the hell talks about, in 1994, who talks about Alan Scott, right? So he's like, all right, let's go meet his mom and dad. Now I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. I'm like, why do I need to meet his mom and dad to figure out why this guy's got a hang up about Alan Scott? So we go over, and this really nice older guy in his wheelchair with his oxygen tank, and his wife was just holding over him, and it was Martin Ordell. And I'm like, oh shit, of course, that's awesome, right? So, hey, we love Green Lantern. Of course, Green Lantern is one of my dad's favorite characters, both Hal Jordan and Alan Scott. The whole, as long as you got a magic green ring, my dad was down for it. So Martin's, he's rummaging through his book. He's like, I don't have anything with Green Lantern to sign for you guys. He goes, oh, you know what I have? Todd McFarlane had actually dedicated Spawn number 13 to him. And so he pulled out a few copies of Spawn 13 and he signed it, there was 3 of us. And unfortunately, he signed it in a green ballpoint pen on black. So there's no way you could tell what it is, right? There's just, it's impossible. But for us, it's important, right? Because here's a golden age creator, and he's just the nicest guy. So we got him. I got home. I was all excited. And then the next year we were able to actually go to dinner with him and his wife as part of Diamond's, like their retail dinner, just because our friend's mom actually ran a comic book store. So it was kind of cool. And that kind of, well, to your point about the golden age creator, that's kind of when I'm like, you know what, we need to know who these guys are, because nobody cares. Walt Disney doesn't care. Warner Brothers doesn't care. Viacom don't care. As long as the characters they created are making us millions, who gives a crap? And then a couple years ago, we were sitting there and I was waiting for Mike Zeck to sign his sketchbook down at San Diego. And these 2 kids, I say kids, they were probably 22, right? They come walking up and both of them have the Secret Wars t-shirt. And they're walking right towards his booth. So I'm talking to Mike Zeck's wife and I'm thinking, oh, they're going to come up and get an autograph because they're wearing the dude's artwork. So I step back and these 2 idiots walk right by the booth. I have no idea that the guy that drew the picture that's on their shirt is sitting 2 feet from them. I was so mad. I go, does that piss you off? And he was doing a commission, and he just kind of chuckled, and his wife's like, well, we're used to it. And I go, you know what? I'll be pissed off for you. And I think I yelled something rude at the 2 kids, not that they cared, but it irritates me, and it's, and that's, the whole point of the cons, right? You meet these guys that they have to travel, like you guys were saying, they have to travel in their retirement years, and they have to go to all these conventions because they're not making any money. Meanwhile, some board of directors is making billions off their characters. Billions. And they're selling shirts to kids who go to these conventions, have no idea who the hell they are. And, my one convention regret is quite a few years ago, it was the year right before Jerry Robinson passed away. He was at San Diego. He was selling his book. He was all by himself. There was no line. I'm like, I need to go get his book. And either my phone rang or somebody drew my attention or one of my kids started crying, and I got distracted. And I didn't make it back to get Jerry's book. And then, of course, he passed away. And I'm like, crap. You know what I mean? Co-creator of Robin, the Joker. You know what I mean? The whole pantheon of Batman's popularity was sitting right there all by himself. And I had a chance to talk to him, and I never did. And that kind of irritates me to this day. So there's my long-winded story.
Tell your dad he needs to get a better favorite Green Lantern.
Yeah, he doesn't really care at this point, Jeremiah. He just likes the ring now, I think. But I think Hal Jordan was his first favorite, though, and then he went backwards. You know what I mean?
Well, my favorite is Zhang Li. So,
which one?
Zhang Li, Green Lantern Dragon Lord.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I
Nice
never knew
choice,
about until Jeremiah told me about him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, there's so many of them. Let's be honest.
I still don't. I'm confused.
You don't? Oh, you've never heard of the Green Lantern Dragon Lord? Yeah, he was not release-wise, but timeline-wise, he's Earth's very, very first Green Lantern. And he actually thought the ring was evil at first, and actually took out the entire Chinese army and broke into the castle and stole a concubine without the ring. Like, that's the kind of just, awesome dude he was.
Am I upside down?
Yes, you are.
Yep.
I had to plug in my phone.
I thought you were playing Spider-Man. I had an interesting convention last year. It was the first one I covered for Outright Geekery. Was Rhode Island Comic Con. And because of being in the chair in press, I got extra early, entrance. So most of the vendors are like still setting up or finding out where it was. And I still had my manual chair at that time. I didn't have the power chair. So it proved some issues because there was no elevator that went from the Civic Center where they have you come in at to the convention center, which is a ramp going like this all the way up.
Oh, wow.
But we made it up there, and I got in the door, and I'm wheeling in, and I'm just looking, and it's like there's a bunch of shirts and merchandise and stuff, and I start to spot the comic books. I go, oh, these are the vendors. I go, I don't want the vendors. I want Artist Alley. So I'm like, nosing around. I get around the first corner, and there is like 3 vendors. What would be 3 vendor areas all together, and it's Neil Adams. I'm 50. I'm a huge Batman fan, and I grew up on Neil Adams and Jim Aparo.
Yeah.
I never got to meet Neil. And this time I get to meet Neil before Neil gets all angry at people. So I got happy Neil instead of angry Neil. So I get to talk to him for about 45 minutes. And then I met another guy that made my childhood. Marty Abrams, who brought the world's greatest superheroes to life in the 8-inch cloth action figures. And I got to, we did like a small interview with him. But I just hung out in Artist Alley for like pretty much the whole 3 days, interviewing people, Graham Nolan, Bill McKay, Tom Mandrake, a few independent illustrators, and other people. It was just, I had a blast.
Sounds fun.
And I only spent $15.
You didn't have to buy a $100 celebrity autograph?
Oh, hell no. I bought 3 things. All 3 of them were Joker items. A friend of mine sold me the Jim Lee Joker Pop. I wanted that one for like a long time. And then I went outside, and a guy that has dealt with autism all his life and now runs a 401 for autism awareness, and is at all the local conventions out here in New England fundraising. I went and bought one of the homemade like little macaroni figures, Joker, and then another Joker piece that actually is like an 8-bit pixel figure. They used to sell them at GameStop.
Oh yeah.
And they light up. It took me 6 months after having it before I realized, oh, it lights up. I thought it was like, are you really gonna open it to find out? I go, no, but it says so on the box, so I know it lights up. Now, how long? I know you said you're gonna start the Kickstarter in September.
Mm-hmm. That's the goal.
He's back.
I got an alert that says your phone's battery is too hot. Can't charge right now. Did you guys ever get that warning?
No, not me.
I've never seen that before. I tried plugging it in, but it says it won't let me charge it because my phone's temperature is too high.
Doesn't sound good.
Kenneth already messaged us, by the way.
Oh, cool.
Awesome.
If my thing drops, it's because my battery died.
Okay.
I got like 2%. I got like 2%.
We'll wrap this up then before we have to continue without you. That would be a shame.
It would.
So you're looking at starting the Kickstarter in September. How far along is the book at this point?
You saw it.
Well, you've got it plotted out. You just haven't.
Yeah, we still have to get the final script and stuff together, but a lot of it was pushed back because of COVID and not knowing if we were going to be able to continue our partnership with Colton's Legacy. Because by this point we hope to raise at least a few $1,000s for their foundation. But because we've been limited to how we can distribute the book, I kind of pushed all that stuff back. So we're kind of playing it by ear and also kind of playing it to see if we can get another sponsorship, if Jeremiah can line us up with maybe another partnership. And then if we can get some funding that way, exploring some interesting funding options so we can get rolling with the next issue.
In the meantime, I'm kind of funding it out of my own pocket. So.
Yeah, anything that has been covered by Colton, we've been self-funding. So.
Now, have you guys thought about getting in on one of the online virtual cons?
No.
Well,
now that you mention it, no.
Honestly, I just didn't know they were doing them.
Do you know if they've been successful or any of the virtual cons?
Well, the last one was Comic Online, and Outright Geekery was one of their sponsors. They were successful as far as I know because they had all big name talent. It was one big huge artist alley, and the two guys that put it on actually worked for Stanley Art Germ. Art Germ Collectibles, and know everybody because for the last few years they've been flying all over the globe, setting up and making connections. Plus they run their own business and they have a bunch of partners behind the scenes and everything. So I mean they had Art Germ, Derek Chu, John Romita Jr., and so many people that I can't even remember, but like all top name, like current comic book artists and mainly the super hard cover people. And they did good. There's been a few more. There might be another one coming up. I'll have to check with Henry, our social media manager. We might have another one coming up that we might be sponsoring as well. If that comes to fruition, I'll definitely reach out to you guys and see what we can do. See if we can get you guys on a panel.
Yeah, awesome.
And a new phone without a hot battery.
Joseph just passed out.
He's
All right, then. That's why I charged my phone before this.
I got nothing.
So we'll get back to Joseph at a later date.
Right.
Right now, make sure you're doing like Kenneth did and check out the page for the fundraiser and the page for the comic book to reach out to these guys to get your copy. Make a donation to the Cystic Fibrosis. Say it again, Jeremiah, because
Cystic fibrosis.
Thank you. I'm very dry mouthed from all my meds. Hey, he's gone. There's 3 of us now. It's like my 3 sons from the Brady Bunch now. And the name of the charity once again?
Colton's Legacy.
Colton's Legacy. Make sure you reach out to these guys. Get your hands on this comic book. get on the ground floor and get ready for issue 2. And if you go to Vegas, you can wander around a casino and bump into Donovan.
I'll be there. I'll be here.
There's nothing else to do in Vegas.
There's nothing.
A friend of mine moved out there because of the weather, because he's got Gehrig's.
Yeah.
So he basically just goes to the park with his dog and goes back and hangs out with the people in his apartment building and gets drunk every day. So
yeah, it's too hot. It's too hot to do anything else.
Yeah, you can't really.
I don't want to hear it's too hot there, man. I'm in Florida.
You got humidity. Get out of here.
Which makes it worse.
I know. I agree, actually.
Yeah, Florida's got those big giant bugs and
gators.
Gators.
In Florida, man.
Oh yeah, I'm in Tampa.
Oh.
You're right.
Yeah, basically.
All right. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming on and
thanks for having us
and telling us about this awesome project. I'll definitely be in touch. I'm going to reach out to a couple of my friends out here and point them in your direction.
Appreciate it.
This will be up on the YouTube channel for Outright Geekery probably tomorrow morning, and we're gonna push it to our Instagram and Twitter as well.
Awesome, thank you.
And it'll be on my YouTube channel afterwards.
Nice, thank you.
So, I want to thank you guys very much for coming on. Hope to hear from you soon, and good luck with issue 2.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks. Have a great night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.